Here it is, people. Here it is right here. What they're not talking about. You guys that know me know that I have a big disdain for elected officials, our federal system of governance and that kind of stuff. I have an appropriate amount of disdain. I have the disdain that our founding fathers said we're supposed to have. Always keep them at arm's length. Never believe what they say. Restrict and curtail their power grabs. But over the decades, over the centuries, we've let them go, let them go, let them grow, let them grow. We believe what they say. We stick to ideology, so if you're a liberal Democrat, you're going to believe people like Schumer and Pelosi. If you're a conservative Republican, you're going to believe people like Mitch McConnell and that kind of stuff. Then there's libertarians who mix up everything, of which I'm pretty much libertarian. I hate both parties. The two-party system is the biggest criminal enterprise ever incorporated on the United States. It's the biggest hoax ever perpetrated on the United States. Totally disagree with it. Don't think it should be here, but hey, it's what we got, right? So I'm a firm believer, never look at the left hand when they show you the left hand. Always look at the right hand when they show you the left hand. Don't ever pay attention to what they're telling you. Don't ever pay attention to what the mainstream media is putting on the news on a daily, hourly, minute cycle. It's all a bunch of kabuki theater. It's made up bullshit. It's a designed play to keep the masses entertained or distracted, to keep your eyes off what they're really doing. So I got this article from Forbes, which is a left-leaning outlet. There's no bones about it. But it's the new Corona stimulus bill in Congress creates a U.S. digital dollar. Let's go into this a little bit. Let me quote some of this article for you before I really get into this. Excuse me. Quote from the article: the newest offer by House Democrats includes a very forward-looking kind of stimulus, the creation of the digital dollar and the establishment of a digital dollar wallet. It continues on later on. The U.S. is serious in establishing infrastructure for a central bank digital currency. It goes on. Both Speaker Pelosi's Take Responsibility for Workers and Families Act and the Financial Protections and Assistance for American Consumers, States, Businesses, and Vulnerable Population Act, H.R. 6321, so if you want to look it up, it's there, introduced by Chairman Maxine Waters, of the Chairman of the Financial Committee, as a way of delivering the economic stimulus payment to U.S. citizens. There's a fight going on in Congress right now about the stimulus and who gets what and how much, and all the crap Pelosi threw in there, all the crap that Mitch McConnell threw in there, all this other bullshit that doesn't belong, all the pork, it's all a bunch of crap, right? Of the almost $2.5 trillion plan that Pelosi put forward, something like just shy of $1 trillion actually goes to people that need it. It's ridiculous. Single subject bills are what we should be dealing with. Now, there's multiple facets to an issue, granted. But what the fuck does early voting and all that other bullshit have to do with the stimulus that we need, or people are saying we need, to stimulate our economy to keep everything from collapsing? Why would you do that? I mean, there's political partisanship, there's political games. They don't give a fuck about us in D.C. They really don't. They care about your vote, because your vote's what keeps them in office, to line their pockets, to maintain and keep their power and influence. But that's all they care about. There's a few good ones. I'm not going to condemn the whole institution, but for the majority, they don't care. It's all about their political party and lining their pockets. Democrats worked with Republicans on this stimulus packet over this past weekend, and then Pelosi and Schumer pulled their crap. Now all Democrats are voting lockstep in line with them. Why? If it's good for the American people and you're there to represent the American people, get it fucking done. But you want to play political partisanship over this. Anyway, so further on into the article, yeah, I had to print it and highlight it because it blew my mind. I want to make sure I quote it correctly. Again, from the article, this is a quote. The bill establishes a digital dollar, which it defines as a balance expressed as a dollar value consisting of digital ledger entries that are recorded as liabilities in the accounts of any Federal Reserve Bank or... Sorry, somebody walking by. Anyway, so the bill establishes a digital dollar, which it defines as a balance expressed as a dollar value consisting of digital ledger entries that are recorded as liabilities in the accounts of any Federal Reserve Bank, or an electronic unit of value redeemable by an eligible financial institution, kicker right here, as determined by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. That'll scare the fuck out of you. Later on in the article, a mandate also requires that all member banks establish a pass-through digital dollar wallet to all customers eligible for the stimulus. So now the Federal Reserve will have direct access to your account? Without getting, like a warrant or something? Anyway. Member banks include those banks that are members of the Federal Reserve and regulated by the Fed. It goes on. Daniel Gorfine, Gorfine. Look this guy up. He's the founder of fintech advisory firm Gattaca Horizons. Look into them. And former chief innovation officer of CFTC. And was the founding director of the Digital Dollar Project. He's a proponent of this plan. Carmel Cadet, founder and CEO of Emtech, EMTECH, look them up. A model central bank technology and services company, is a technology provider in the world's first live retail CBDC with the Central Bank of Bahamas, called the Sand Dollar. Another one you want to look up. Don't take my word for it. Look them up. According to an FDIC report in 2017 that identified 63 million people that are unbanked and underbanked in the U.S., she notes, if checks are the form of payment, the stimulus is not going to reach many of them. Sorry. If they cut a check, put it in the mail's still running, the mail comes to my house. How am I not going to get this? It's a government check. It's not a private check. It's not a personal check. If you take it to any bank, they're going to cash it. It's like a cashier's check. How are they not going to get service? How are they not going to get their stimulus money? You can have it direct deposited. Okay, fine. But this lady's using underbanked. What does that mean? What's the bigger picture to all of this that I'm concerned about? The Federal Reserve wants cash gone. Globally. They don't want hard currency in the hands of people. Why? Because they can't control it. They can't control your transactions. They can't control what you purchase. They can't control what you do with that money. If they can't control your money, they can't control you. I'm not a conspiracy theorist per se. I read a bunch of them. It kind of gives you some thought. Most of it for me is the thought exercise to kind of play through the conspiracy and, okay, whatever. It's a bunch of bunk, or there's some partial truths that people spin into a big story, whatever. But they've been pushing for this for years. They took us off the gold standard decades ago. First of all, you guys keep in mind, for those of you who don't know, the Federal Reserve is not a governmental agency. It's a privately held company that's in charge of our currency with no oversight. Okay, there's oversight committees in Congress, but the Federal Reserve Chairman tells them all to pack sand all the fucking time. There's no accountability for what they do with our money. There's no accountability for the loans that they actually make to foreign countries. Do you guys know not too long ago there was during the 2008 collapse of our economic system, there was something like a $7 trillion 0% interest rate, zero-term loan from the Federal Reserve of our money to Deutsche Bank? Did you all know that? In the middle of an economic crisis? With no demand for payback? But now they want our currency gone. They want cash gone. They've wanted it gone forever. They took us off the gold standard for a reason. We now have what's called a fiat currency. There's no hard back to our dollar. Our dollar is valued at a global level based on other currencies, and it fluctuates every day. But there's no backing to it other than the belief in the dollar. But same with the yen, same with the pesos, whatever. It's a perceived value. There's nothing backing it. But now they're going after cash. They've been going after cash for a long time. Think about it. What happens if you go to deposit more than $10,000 of cash into a bank account? They have to report it. And then there's some people who look at it. If you don't have the hardcore receipts and documentation of the validity of that cash, now they can come take it and seize it or freeze it until you prove that you got that cash legitimately. You can't carry more than, I want to say it's $5,000, whatever the value is. It could very well be 10, but I think it's 5. Hard cash on you if you get on an airplane and fly. They've already been limiting your access to cash. They've been limiting what you can do with cash. It's been steadily working to where they want cash gone. Why do they want cash gone? Because that's how they control you. If they have access to or control over your digital wallet, there could be a, oops, it's a glitch. Oops, we were penetrated by whatever foreign entity and they wiped out your bank account. Remember the IRS targeting of the conservative groups during the Obama administration? Look at the power they had. Look at what they did. You don't think they would do that if the Federal Reserve can control and get rid of all cash? To where every transaction you make is now controlled by some type of algorithm? It's a little tweak, right? Think about the stuff that you buy with cash. All right, there's still some old school people that carry, they cash their check, they keep $100 in their pocket to go, it's their spending money or whatever. They buy, whatever, smokes, beer, gas, whatever. That's fine. But there's some of us that use cash to buy stuff. We don't want people knowing what we bought. I'm not talking about illegal stuff. I'm talking about legal stuff. If you buy with a credit card or even your debit card, there's a history of that transaction, right? Still easily traceable. But if you buy with cash, there's nothing that can trace that stuff. There's a lot of things that I don't want the government knowing what I'm buying. Not that I'm buying illegal stuff, not that I'm buying drugs or doing anything like that. But if I want to buy something, I don't want the government knowing what I'm buying. I don't want anybody to know what I'm buying. It's none of your fucking business what I'm buying. But without cash, there's not a record of it. It's a means of control. They can start denying transactions. That's not approved. That's not an approved purchase. You can't buy that. It wasn't approved. We're not going to release those funds. Therefore, you cannot purchase that item. You don't think they would do that? Seriously? They already do. You can't buy certain weapons in certain states. What better way to enact a global or a countrywide policy where you can't use this digital currency to purchase a weapon? Think about it. It also destroys the cryptocurrency market. Government can't stand cryptocurrency. Ooh, they want that gone just as bad, if not worse, than they want cash gone. Bitcoin and all the other stuff, right? They want that shit gone. Why? Currency is currency. Currency is just a representation of value. The value is determined by what somebody's willing to trade for that item. Whether it be a hammer, a bottle of water, an automobile, a house, an airplane, a box of Tic Tacs, whatever. It's a perceived value, which is what our current fiat currency is. It's just a perceived value. But they want that Bitcoin stuff gone. They can't control you. They can't control the market. They can't control what you're purchasing. They can't control what can be purchased with the cryptocurrency. Just like they can't control necessarily what's paid for with cash. They want control. And yet here we are, listening to the left and the right point fingers, blame, and argue about the stimulus bill. None of them are talking about this. I gave you the name and the number of the act that's being pushed. They want this pushed as a means to facilitate the stimulus payout. And it's not being talked about. Nobody up there is talking about this. They're talking about what Pelosi threw in. They're talking about Mitch and his slush fund and all the other crap and lies and bullshit that's being passed around. They're not talking about this one. This one's big. The stuff in the stimulus bill that people are adding, yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit, but it's a bunch of bullshit. This, if it's passed, is huge. You want to talk about a power grab? Oh my God, that's it. They get control of the cash in total. They get control of the currency. We're done. You can talk to your religious people in the mark of the beast and that whole conspiracy theory. This ushers that in. If this becomes the de facto currency, who controls it? I read it to you. The Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. Who controls the Federal Reserve? Not us. Not our elected officials. World bankers. They want control. They pretty much have control for the most part if you really want to get into that side of it. But they don't really have control of the individual per se. This gives it to them. I trust none of them. I think there are several politicians that need to go through a treason trial. I think a lot of them need to be taken out to the woodshed, or the wood line if you're in the military. And worse. Absolutely worse. There should be some politicians and prior politicians that should be facing the death penalty right now. I don't like them. But this scares the fuck out of me. Not that I'm going to run in terror kind of fear, but this is mind-blowing. And it's not being talked about. This article just came out March 23rd, which is just yesterday. It's in Forbes, which is it's got a huge such circulation, which I think, let me get to this article, looks like as of 8:23 p.m. on March 23rd, when this article was published, there was 1,618,179 views. A good amount of people read it. Where's the discussion? Where's our duly elected officials putting the brakes at on this one? Where's NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox News, OAN, any of them? Where are they with this? Why are alarm bells not being rang from hell and back? This is no joke. If this comes through, I don't know what to tell you. Get on your knees and pray, because we're done.